Dear devotees and friends, and today is the Wednesday evening, and as usual we will be reading from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Panchama Veda. So let us begin with the prayer stotra. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kabibhiriditam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam srimadatatam bhubi grinanti e bhurida janaha. In our last discourse, we have discussed on be restless for God, which is possible in 4 steps. We have already discussed it in our last class, but to give a gist like that, we can say the first step is hearing about God. The hearing about God, this is very, very important. Shankaracharya said the human life is very important. He is starting from the basic. And after the human life, manushyatvam mumukshutvam, and the desire to get freedom, mumukshutva, moha purusha samastaya. These are the 3 things in the Vivek Chudamani, Shankaracharya, he said. But here we can say first is hearing about God. Many people don't listen about God, hear about God, they have not heard about God. And even if they have heard, they have all in a sarcastical way or in a critical, we can say, criticizing the God, that in atmosphere they are born. So they don't know, and they may be hearing about God, but that is also not proper way. What is God? So that is a luck. That is the karma phala. So first is, what is God? Then a desire comes, liking for God. So when we hear about God, and then slowly we start liking for God. This liking develops. Then feeling love for God. From the liking it goes to love for God. The first is hearing, then it comes to liking, third is the loving, and then being one with God. We cannot survive without God. So these are the 4th step. So be restless. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said again and again, and this is what actually happens. So why we read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna? So far I know almost all the centers in the United States and North America, every week they will read the Gospel. They never stop. When whole thing is over, then it will be again another. So everything, all this will be going on, reading and reading. The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the Panchama Veda, that because the God himself, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna himself is talking about God. So we hear about God. And the God, the true God we hear about. Then obviously when you are hearing, many, I just read and try to explain in my own way, very humble way. Even then, so many people from the different parts of the world, they'll be writing to me and calling me and telling me that they are liking it. This is not just because I am reading it. Many people will read it more perfectly than I do. But even then, when they themselves can read, even then why they are liking? God's word. So that means a liking for God is coming. And it is already there. So every week they are attending the class, reading this gospel, and also listening the how I am explaining it, all this is going on. By that way, hearing and liking, then the third state will come, the feeling love for God. Feeling love for God means, when the love comes, then obviously constantly, every moment, every time, we think about that person, the whom we love, the love for God. And when that comes, we are constantly thinking about God, mind becomes purified. Constantly we are thinking, and when we are going to sleep, when you are getting up, when you are working, and in the whole time we are going on thinking in a different way. Sometimes we listen to the songs, the bhajans, or read the holy books, or hear the discourses, or read, like this way, constantly taking the name of God. All these slowly develop the love. Love means constant thinking about that particular person. And who we are thinking? God. And if we are constantly thinking in our mind about God, and with a great joy when you are thinking or doing some work for God, sometimes people, they come, they will be cleaning the rooms. And here, particularly in America, the devotees, they come, they do all the work voluntarily. Because it is very difficult to get some person, and if you engage someone, it is very costly. So the devotees themselves come, and they are well-established people, educated people, but they will come and clean the toilet, bathrooms, and the other rooms, and they will prepare some food, and so many ways they try to do. Why? They love it. And while doing it, if fortunately he or she think about God constantly, what will happen? If the mind is away from the worldly things, the mind is pure. And this God and this world, God and this creation, and if the mind is away from the God's creation, these worldly things, which is temporary completely, then it is only God, and mind is becoming pure. When mind becomes pure, then the eagerness to be one with God, because I don't like this world. So that is called, to restlessness takes us to the God, and we become God because we merge with God. We know in reality what is God. Now the question is, where we can find God? So the next chapter, the Lord Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is discussing a very unique way. And today's topic, the divinity is everywhere. Where is God? Everywhere. How we will find? Let us read from this. The Ramakrishna is demonstrating. It is the chapter 35, page 677, and the date is the 14th December 1884, Sunday. Sri Ramakrishna arrived at the Star Theatre on Bidon Street in Calcutta to see a play about the life of Prahlada. Look at it. A holy person, a religious person, a guru, and he is going to theatre. And it's not like modern the movie or cinema. It's the theatre in those days. The aristocrat people, they used to shun, particularly those who are educated, and the unreligious people will never go to that site. But Sri Ramakrishna, with all the devotee he has gone to, the Star Theatre, very famous theatre, he is there. The God is everywhere. Divinity is everywhere. Sometimes some people, they think, we should not eat this, we should not drink this, we should not visit there, we should not do that. But those who have overcome and then see, so for them, that's why that we have to hear about God, and then slowly develop liking for God, then love for God, then becoming one with God. So that is the final. And where we will find God? Shall we go to a temple or the? Of course, those are the places. The manifestation of God is much more. If you go to a holy pilgrim center, to a temple, a synagogue, a church, and of course it is there. But in reality, God is everywhere. That is what Sri Ramakrishna is teaching. And here we find he has gone to the Star Theatre on Bidon Street. It is still there. And the play about the Prahlada, the famous character you all know, Im, Baburam, Narayan, and other devotees were with him. The hall was brightly lighted. The play had not yet begun. The master was seated in a box talking with Girish. Girish was almost the owner, we can say, and he was the main person. So he allowed Sri Ramakrishna to sit in a VIP enclosure that's called box. From there, only you people will be there and no other else. So he was there and he was talking with Girish. Master smiling, "Ah, you have written nice plays." You have already heard about that. So he was telling to Girish Chandra. Girish, "But sir, how little I assimilate. I just write." So look at the Girish. He was so egoistic. Now the ego has gone. In place of the ego, the humbleness has come. And when you are humble, then you get the blessings of God. You receive His teaching, you can understand. Because the ego is such a thing, it will never allow you to listen properly. Forget about practicing that. Oh, I know, can do it. Oh, what is that to listen from him? And you are missing the God's advice and God's company. But luckily, Girish, because of his past good karma, he failed that Sri Ramakrishna is not ordinary person. So he is humble. He was telling, I have written, I have only, how little I assimilate, I just write. The master is telling, no, you assimilate a great deal. Sri Ramakrishna is not telling that you have already understood. No, assimilate a great deal. What is assimilation? Understanding. Clear understanding about God. Majority of the people, not having clear understanding about God. That they have heard about God, there is someone who is doing either very powerful, so we must be afraid of him, don't disturb him, and keep him in good humor, all this short temperament. But actually, what is that God? So Sri Ramakrishna is telling, you assimilate a great deal. You have understood it much better way. The other day I said to you that no one could sketch a divine character unless he had love of God in his heart. Love of God in his heart. Sri Ramakrishna's assessment about Girish Chandra Ghosh. The God who can see the hearts of everyone. The Sri Ramakrishna is disclosing that. And obviously, they are encouraging Girish to follow that, the path of renunciation. And what is the renunciation? Ego. The Girish has already done a lot. His ego almost gone. So he is surrendering at the feet of the God. So you have understood. Yes, Sri Ramakrishna is continuing. One needs to assimilate spiritual ideas. I went to Keshav's house to see the play, Nabo Brindavan. I saw a deputy magistrate there who earned 800 rupee a month. In those days, is a very big salary, very fat salary. Everyone said that he was a very learned man, But I found him restless because of his son. He was very anxious to find a good seat for his boy. He paid no attention to the spiritual conversation of the players. Sri Ramakrishna used to observe. Here, an educated person, and in the society, a deputy magistrate means a very big person. But from the spiritual point of view, he is nobody, he is having nothing. Why? Because he don't have love for God. He has come to see a devotional play, and mainly the conversation, he has to understand, no love for that. Just he is there and then busy with the son and all those things. His mind is not there. So Sri Ramakrishna noticed it. Girish, I often ask myself, why bother about the theatre anymore? So look at it. And this is Sri Ramakrishna. The majority of the spiritual leaders say this world is illusory, this world is temporary. Of course it is. And then when they say that they leave this world and come and join and become a monastic, there is the question whether it is necessary for each and everyone to do that. And what is Dharma? The definition of Dharma Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is giving. I often ask myself, Girish is telling, why bother about the theatre anymore? But the Master, no, let things be as they are. People will learn much from your plays. So whatever the drama you are staging, from there the people will learn. That means Swadharma. Whatever the quality that you are having, use that quality for the service of God. That is called Swadharma. And by that way, one can realize God when another person has left the hearth and home and trying to meditate on God. So this is what Sri Ramakrishna. So what is Dharma? Whatever the promises that you have taken in your life, responsibility you have accepted in your life, perform that without any attachment and perform that perfectly as a dedication, as a service to God. That is Dharma. Right from the topmost person in the administration down to a very ordinary person, each and every one, if they can understand this, then the whole society will change. We are going to the temple, we are talking about God, we are doing so many things. But we are not understanding only one thing. Sometimes I find that the other political leaders, they are giving the donation to the temple a huge amount. Where from? From the exchequer of the government. People's money, without hesitation, they are given it and thinking that God will bless them. They are not thinking that whose money I am utilizing. It's not my earned money. It is somebody else's money. I am supposed to utilize for the development of the society. I have been elected for that. He is not doing that. He is thinking by this way he will make the God happy. Oh fool, completely foolishness. It cannot be. So God is consciousness. He is in the hearts of each and every one. The moment the thought is arising in your mind to do something, God knows it well why you are doing it. So that is the reason the faith or understanding about God. So it says, hear about God first. Know about God first. Try to understand about God first. The God is the inner self. And the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in every page we find that. That is the the reason we should, each and every one, without the, oh, I am a Christian, I should not read, or I am from different religion. No, not like that. To understand what is God. Because all religions are trying to reach to God. But what is God? So that understanding should be very clear. What is Dharma? What is righteousness? What should you do? Sri Ramakrishna is telling, no, let things be as they are. People will learn much more from your plays. The drama that you are staging, from there people will learn some positive thing. Devotion will come. So this is, the performance began. Prahlada was seen entering the schoolroom as a student. At the sight of him, Sri Ramakrishna uttered once or twice the word Prahlada and went into samadhi. This is the Sri Ramakrishna way of watching the drama. He goes and he sees, and then his mind and suddenly soar into that height. The moment he saw the Prahlada, immediately he remembered the Krishna. He may remember the Vishnu, the God, and his mind goes into that. And this is called spirituality. A little hint about the God takes the mind to that highest level. Sri Ramakrishna is unique. Avatara Varishtaya, about Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, his disciple Swami Vivekananda is telling. His mind, a little. So Prahlada, a person has dressed like that, he is entering, he didn't see the man. Behind, he saw the God. Immediately, he goes to that, the Prahlada. During another scene, Sri Ramakrishna wept to see Prahlada under an elephant's feet. He cried when the boy was thrown into fire. The scene changed. Lakshmi and Narayana were seen seated in Golaka. Narayana was worried about Prahlada. This scene too threw Sri Ramakrishna into an ecstatic mood. He goes into that depth. So this is called spirituality. Mind is completely free. The moment there is a suggestion about the divinity, about holy life, about God, mind goes straight to that. And forgets all around who are the people around sitting, what is happening, what they will think about me. Nothing like that. He goes into that. Not that everything that he is observing in the drama, his mind is constantly taking a little hint and going and then merging into that. This is, Swami Vivekananda said, religion is realization. And realization of this oneness with the God, oneness with the Supreme. After the performance, Girish conducted Sri Ramakrishna to his private room in the theatre. He said to the master, "Would you care to see the farce? Vivaho Vibrat, confusion of marriage," the drama. Sri Ramakrishna was, no. Why something like that after the life of Prahlada? So he said, no, I am not interested in that. The Girish, how did you like the performance? Now, the reply of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Girish is asking about the performance, about the drama naturally, because he has written, he has composed that, and he is writing in this way and staging the whole drama. He is asking and he is trying to know the Sri Ramakrishna's reaction about the play. Now Sri Ramakrishna, he said, I found that it was God himself who was acting in the different parts. The Sri Ramakrishna couldn't see anything else but God. I found that it was God himself who was acting the different parts. Those who played the female parts seemed to me the direct embodiments of the blissful mother. And the cowherd boys of Golaka, the embodiments of Narayana himself. It was God alone who had become all these. In the Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, 30th verse, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is said, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati, tasyaham na pranashyami, sacha me na pranashyati. And this is spirituality, above religion. Religion are the practices, the efforts. But spirituality means becoming that, being in that, merging in that. So what is that? God is everywhere. Divinity is everywhere. He who sees me everywhere, Yomam pashyati sarvatra. Sarvam cha mai pashyati, and sees everything in me. Me the God, M is capital. To him I am never lost. How can he? Because constantly he is thinking about God. Everything that he sees, he can feel that it is the manifestation of the same God. Actor and actresses, those who are playing over there, they didn't feel that. But Sri Ramakrishna failed. This is the difference between a spiritual person. And he sees to them, look at them, oh, Divine Mother is playing like that, in that dress. So constantly thinking about God, how can he lose God? Nor is he ever lost to me. And when one is constantly thinking about God, meditating on God, God is also with him. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati, tasya ham na pranashyami, sacha me na pranashyati. So this is the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and we see it is demonstrated over here as a living demonstration of the scriptural teaching. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling like this, there are signs by which you can know whether a man has truly seen God. Now Sri Ramakrishna is certainly mentioning about it, giving the hint that he is God himself. This is very difficult when the God comes and behaves like a human being. He is living with us, talking with us. So difficult to recognize the God. Sri Ramakrishna is giving the hint. So how you will understand? One of these is joy. There is no hesitancy in him. He is like the ocean. The waves and sounds are on the surface. Below are profound depths. So this, how he is giving the example of an ocean, and the above there are waves, there are sound, but the profundity of the ocean, the depth of the ocean, it is all silent because it is one, there cannot be two. When you see the two, as if the wave and the ocean are separate, as if the air which is creating sound, clashing on the waves with the waves, are different. No, it is all on the surface. You see the Sri Ramakrishna coming, talking, sitting, laughing, discussing, but in reality he is one, and that is the joy. And that joy is manifested. Whoever comes near, they also feel that divine joy. The Sri Ramakrishna, then he is giving the many other instances how one can understand. Man cannot see God on account of his ego. The God is everywhere. God is sitting by your side. But we cannot understand that. Why? because of the ego. You cannot see the sun when a cloud rises in the sky. But that doesn't mean there is no sun. The sun is there just the same. So this is very, very important. The Sri Ramakrishna is telling, almost disclosing, that he is the God himself. And he is giving that example. It is all joy. And only you see the waves and the sound. But in reality, there is no difference. It is only the one. And then he is telling, people cannot understand because they are so egoistic. They think whatever they thought, whatever the way they think are all perfect. That is why the faith is necessary. How to develop faith? The faith in the words of the scripture, teachings of the scripture, and faith in the words of the guru or the holy people. How you will understand the holy people? A person who is not having the selfishness. He is the holy person. Then how you will understand that he is unselfish? His love for all, without any discrimination, distinction. So he is loving each and everyone, trying to help. So then the faith will come. And when the faith about God is coming, then it is possible. Then Sri Ramakrishna is telling, but there is no harm in the ego of a child. Very nicely he is telling, the ego of a child, because he is discussing about the duality. Constantly mixed up. Non-duality, duality. The non-duality means that Brahman, Satchid Ananda Sarupa, he is everything in different form. He is the consciousness, and that way. And duality, God is different, I am different, but I am the part and parcel of God. I am God myself. And I love God, and one day I go and merge with that God. So that he is telling, a little ego is all right. What the type of the ego? He is telling ego of a child. What the child they do? Always feel proud for the mother and the father. So there's an example that a king's son, a prince, and the maidservant of that house, they were playing, the maidservant's son. So the prince and the maidservant's son, they were playing, and something happened, and the maidservant's son said, they both are small kids, they are telling to the prince, I will go and complain to my mother that you are behaving like this. He never bothers. The mother is a maidservant. She can't do anything, but great faith. And similar faith in the existence of God, never caring about that. The faith of a child, I am going to tell the God that you are behaving like this to me. God is all powerful. Example that the maidservant I gave, it means the faith in God, as the child who is having the faith in his mother. So the ego of a child, I can do this, I can tell this, I can, but at the same time he will forget all those things. This moment the child is unhappy, won't talk, won't look at you. Next moment again come and jump on your lap. So that is the child's ego. So that way it is all right. Sri Ramakrishna is telling there is no harm in the ego of a child. On the contrary, this ego is helpful. Because the child is constantly knowing that I have a mother at my back, and whatever I do, the mother will come to protect me. So that is also helping, constantly thinking about the same way. If we can think about God, God is with me, I will go and complain to God about that you are not behaving properly with me. So that type of ego is also good, because it helps us to constantly think about God. That this is the way it goes. So I said to Keshav, if I tell you more than I have already said, you won't be able to keep your organization together. So that means the organization, Keshav Chandra Sen's organization, it was based on not on realization, but on understanding. Because the Christianity is very strong, Hinduism they could not understand and promote. In between, they started developing a philosophy, and it was famously known as the Samaj, Brahma Samaj. And naturally, it is not a spiritual organization, and that way, the complete faith, their understanding. So we came to know, and the history is proving, the first people who started that, then it was broken, it went on. So why? Because the selfishness is there. I should become the leader, and I will do like this. So whenever there is an ego, then there is the problem. Sri Ramakrishna told to Keshav Chandra Sen, if I go on giving you the advices, your ego will vanish. And when your ego won't be there, you will never care about the organization that you are leading. The Keshav was not ready at that time. So that frightened him. Because if I am not having the organization, then what will I? So that is the way. Keshav was talking about the spirituality, about God. But even then he was having that I should be the leader of the organization. And when Sri Ramakrishna told that there will be no ego, you will only realize God. So Keshav at that moment, he was a very highly advanced soul. Sri Ramakrishna liked him so much that one point of time when Keshav was sick, Sri Ramakrishna went to the Mother Kali, the Divine Mother, and prayed, Mother, please save Keshav Chandra so that I can talk to him. And not only that, like the ordinary people, Sri Ramakrishna told, if you save Keshav, I will give you green coconut mixed with sugar. Then that usually they used to give like that. So that is the way Sri Ramakrishna loved him. God loved him. Why? He was having the genuine desire. But that is the moment that he was thinking he will have a different organization. He should be the head of the organization. He should guide the people like that, like that. So Sri Ramakrishna, even then, is not disliking him. That is okay. He is trying to take people towards God. That is also good. So he is telling the ego is necessary also. But when there is no ego, what happens? You become God yourself. And when you are God yourself, what do you care about the organization? What do you care about the club that we are and all the position that you are having? Nothing. So this is the slowly we have to understand. When he said, if I say then you won't be able to keep your organization together, that frightened him. Then I said to him, there is no harm in the ego of a child or the ego of a servant. He who has seen God finds that God alone has become the world and all its living beings. So this is Hinduism. If you read the Veda, the Upanishads, or other scriptures, everywhere this is the tone you can hear. Everywhere. All the time the people will be telling like this, he who has seen God finds God alone has become the world and all its living beings. That's why those who are claiming that they are religious people or trying to become religious should not waste their time, and I should say unnecessarily, thinking about the political or other things. a lot of energy is wastage on those things. But it will go on changing. Society is just like that. Those who find that that should be their duty, let them do that. Because their karma phala, that will take them there, and they will find the solace in that, happiness in that, and grabbing the power, and that they will be thinking that I will lead the people, give them the perfection. Let them think about that. But if you go through the pages of the history, so many people came, they wanted to do that. The world is the same. Same and right from the beginning till today, only the situation changed, the dress changed, maybe the language changed, but the temperament, mentality are the same. So what is the uniqueness in this? When we see the changes, there must be an ecstatic one which is standing there unchanged. We have to find that, and that is called God realization. If this has come in our mind, then we should always concentrate on that, because time is very short. And this is what Sri Ramakrishna is urging us to do, asking us to do. Constantly concentrate on that. So he is telling that he who has seen God finds that God alone has become the world. And let the world, the God's world, his creation, let it go in their own way. Whatever the responsibility I am having, I will perform, but I am not going to attest to that. Why? I know that all these things are temporary, going to be changed. But the God who has created these is unchanged. I should go back to God. That is whole of spirituality. That is whole of religion, going back to the source. And he is telling this, such a person is called a superior devotee. Again, let me read this line again. He who has seen God finds that God alone has become the world, and all that is living beings, it is He who has become all. Such a person is called a superior devotee. Now Girish is telling, smiling, yes, God is everything. But the devotee keeps a trace of ego that is not harmful. Girish is summarizing Sri Ramakrishna's teaching. Sri Ramakrishna smiling, yes, there is no harm in that. That trace of ego is kept in order to enjoy God. You can enjoy divine bliss only when you make a distinction between yourself and God. The distinction between the servant and the master. That means, he just mentioned, a son and the father. Why? Then duality. In that duality you can enjoy. But if you merge with that, then you are that. So that is when the waves of water of the ocean, huge wave, different shape and the powerful, and because of the wind also sound is coming from that. Wind is colliding with the great wave and then making the sound. All these things you are enjoying. But the moment you go and merge with the ocean, you are ocean. So sometimes the God himself try to become different, likes to become different, not try, he can do, and he likes to become different only to enjoy this. And when we understand that and thinking that I am the wave, I am playing on the ocean, which is my source, and one day I am going back to that ocean, becoming the part and parcel of the ocean again. So that is you enjoy the spiritual life. So that is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. there is also the devotee of the mediocre class. He sees that God dwells in all beings as their inner guide. The first, God is one, and whatever we see in different names and forms is nothing but God. Second one, mediocre, he says, God is the inner self of the all beings. Is little advanced but little below from the superior one. The superior one is nothing but the same God in different forms, just he is enjoying that. Mediocre thinks the God dwells in all beings as their inner guide. But the inferior devotee says the God exists, he is up there, that is to say, beyond the sky. All started laughing. When we think that God is living somewhere else, that is the very lowest type. Why lowest type? Devotee. Why devotee? Because he believes in God, existence of God. But he is thinking, or she is thinking, God is far away, maybe above the sky, or like that he is thinking. But the second grade, the mediocre, is thinking God is residing in the hearts of everyone. But the best devotee is thinking that God is everything. So these are the three categories. And we have to understand in which category we fall. Do we believe that God is only far away from us? Then it's a long way to go to understand. And we have to study the scripture, the guidance of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, and to see that same thing manifested in his life. The God is everything. A holy person is going to a theatre without hesitation. Not only that, when the actor and actresses are coming to play, his mind is going back to that Atman, merging in that, going into Samadhi. That means it is possible that I can see God even in those places whom the people, they used to curse them. Oh, the characterless people like that. But for Sri Ramakrishna, they were the manifestation of the divinity. That means God is everywhere. Only I can't see because of my defect. God is everywhere present. So this is the way, slowly, we have to rectify if we like to be real true devotee. Or just taking the name of God and doing whatever I like for my benefit, for my physical comfort, for my social status, then it is a different category. We are not talking about them. Let them do whatever. Those who have come to listen, come to practice, come to realize God, these are the points we must remember every time, that what is my situation, my condition. Am I see God only in far away? Can't I feel that God is near in every being? And when He is in every being, that means I cannot criticize others. The God is residing in the hearts of everyone. So I should be careful when I am behaving with others. I should not hurt others. Rather, I should do as the God is telling to Girish, that as because you are good in staging the dramas, and through that the people are also learning, getting the inspiration to realize God, to think about God, you should continue that. That means my Swadharma, whatever I know, I should utilize that for the betterment of others, and then after the work, I dedicated that at the feet of the God. Oh God, you have given me this capacity, so I do it for you only, and I offer this to you. Please bless me. Then slowly, the eagerness will come, restlessness will come. My mind will never be on anything of these worldly things, and it will collect and go to the God. And the moment it goes to God, my mind becomes completely pure, and the purity is God. So this is how he is telling. There is also devotee of the mediocre. Then, when I saw the cowherd boys of Goloka in your performance, I felt that God has become all. He who has seen God knows truly that God alone is the doer, and that is He who does everything. Sri Ramakrishna's hint is very clear. The Girish understood, Sir, I know truly that it is God who does everything. Master, I say, O Mother, I am the machine and you are the operator. I am the inert and you make me conscious. I do as you make me do. I speak as you make me speak. But the ignorant say, I am partly responsible and God is partly responsible. Then he has the faith in God, but don't understand that God is doing everything, completely depending on God. Now the question may be, if I am completely depending on God, then whatever the wrong thing I will think or do, that will go to God. Nobody should blame me for that. But be rest assured, if you are constantly thinking that whatever you are thinking, you are doing, you are acting is just because the direction of the God, you can never do anything wrong. That is the miracle. You can never do anything wrong. The God is holding your hand means you are depending on God means you are on the right direction. You will never do anything wrong. So that is, you need not to think that I am responsible and partly the God. No, the God is responsible for everything. I am the machine. The Girish says, Sir, friends, in our this present Chicago calling, I just remind you, if you are interested, Sri Ramakrishna used this word machine, Ami Jantra Tumi Jantri, this machine, and you are the doer, many a times. And he gave many examples. The one research thing has been published in the Chicago Calling. It is the electronic magazine. You can go to our website, and on the home page itself you will find the Chicago Calling, and you can read that article. And you will find all those things in one place. Again and again and again, Sri Ramakrishna is quoting that, urging us, advising us to become the machine in the hand of the God. Here, Girish is telling, Sir, I am not really doing anything. Why should I bother about work at all? Sri Ramakrishna again rectifying him. No, work is good. When the ground is well cultivated and cleared of stones and pebbles, whatever you plant will grow. But one should work without any personal motive. Then what is the religion? Religion is keeping the words, keeping the promises. I always say again and again. It's not my words, it is my feeling by understanding after reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Swadharma. A monk, a sadhu, should be completely free from any attachment. But his heart should be full of love and unselfishness. A householder, whatever the responsibility he or she is having, must perform that as he or she is serving the God in that basis. That this is my responsibility I should perform. And in whatever the position in the society, each and every one should understand. If only this message the people they understand all over the world, and in every society, whatever the God they are worshipping, whatever the faith they are following, the philosophy they are following. No problem. Only I should do my own responsibility perfectly, correctly, as it has been given to me by God to do, on that type of mind. So keeping my promises is that is called religion. And then what will happen? Your mind will be filled with love and unselfishness, which is God, and you will understand the joy of God realization. So this is again and again Sri Ramakrishna is telling here when he is conversing with the Girish Chandra Ghosh. The Girish is giving twice, we have heard just here in 2 pages, that let me give up the work and concentrate on the other things, maybe spirituality. Sri Ramakrishna is telling, no, work is good. Then what will happen? When you are working, sometimes the ego will come. The ego means clashes will be there. And immediately you will go back to your own self and say, oh, why have I fought with him? It was not necessary. Again you are rectifying yourself and your ego will be less and less. Your confidence will be there. Understanding will be clear. And the more less will become your ego, the more flow of God's blessings will enter into your mind. And the joy, the confidence and everything will come. That is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna is telling by this way. When the ground is well cultivated and cleared of stones and pebbles, whatever you plant will grow. That's the mind of the human. There are 2 types of Paramahamsa. He is again giving the hints about the spiritual leader. The Jnani and the Premi. The Jnani is self-centered. He feels that it is enough to know, enough to have knowledge for his own self. The Premi, one who has the full of love, like Shukadeva. He is mentioning Shukadeva. After attaining his own realization, teaches men. Some eat mangoes and wipe off the traces from their mouths, but some share their mangoes with others. This is the difference. One type of people will realize God and then they never bother about the world. But Sri Ramakrishna, he is telling, what about the others? You have taken everything from them. From the society, after the birth, everything we got from the society, otherwise we would not have survived. So obviously, it is your responsibility to do something for the society. And as a monk, as a holy person, what you can do? You can go and tell them about God. You can go and boost up their moralities. You can guide them to be happy. But after realization, after understanding, that's why the Ramakrishna mission motto is Atmana Mokshartha Jagat Hitaya. Atmana Moksha, for the one's own liberation and for the betterment of others. That is the dual goal of the Ramakrishna mission. It was fixed by Swami Vivekananda himself. And you will find the Ramakrishna mission everywhere. We are now almost having so many centers all over the world. According to the demand, according to the condition of the people, we are going and serving them. In the places like India, Bangladesh, Nepal, and other places, we have the schools, we have the orphanages, we have so many other organizations to help the people. And the developed places like the America, Europe, we only give the teachings of the Vedanta so that people can understand what is true religion. So friends, we will stop over here and then we will continue our study in our next week again in the Wednesday. The gist of this, God is everywhere. Divinity is everywhere. We have to develop restlessness for the realization of God, and restlessness means tremendous love for God. Thank you.
So the first question is from Saurabh Chatterjee. He is asking, how can we dilute our ego?
How can we dilute our ego, Saurabh? So, this is a abhyasa. What is the dilute means? The first thing, if you are analyzing what is the ego, you will find there is no such thing. It's completely an imaginary thing. What is the ego? For intellect? What is the ego? For my family background? For my education? For my wealth? For my success? Any time it can be destroyed. So why I am having that ego for? So this type of analysis if we do, and slowly that will go down. Second, when you hear about the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, if we have faith and love and respect for the words of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, then we should say, God, you have given me this intellect, so I have become a professor or an engineer or a scientist or a great leader, but it is your power. Oh God, always be with me. I am humble. So if you pray like that, then also your ego will go down, and slowly a self-confidence will come, and you will feel that God is with you. But the happiness without the ego will also be there, and you can be rest assured that you are very close to God. Thank you for the question.
Second question is from Srima Biswas. She is asking, some people believe in God, some don't. Why?
Srima, this is, we can say that is because of the past karma. See, the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna went to see the drama, and there the Prahlada and his father Hiranyakashipu, two different characters. Prahlada had great faith in the existence of God, and he was depending all the time on God, whereas his father was trying to show that there is no God. So that is depending on the karma phala, the past life. If someone is having the faith in the existence of God, but try to understand it clearly, that is good. Now, I don't believe the God in the way you think. I have to understand God, that is good. When then slowly, if he is sincere, then he will come to know the God himself will send someone. After hearing, after listening, he will find that this is God. So, to answer your question, why some people have faith and some others are not, we can say it is purely the karma phala, is the past birth. So the faith of God comes. In the Bhagavad Gita also we have read, and many a times we mentioned that those who have done something good in the spiritual life, they take birth in this life to advance in their spiritual life in a wealthy and cultured family. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna said that. So according to the karma phala, it happens.
Saurabh is asking again, why God created this universe at all?
This is a wonderful question, but this no one can answer. When it was created and why it was created, this no one can answer. And Swami Vivekananda, in one of his talk, he is telling, Hindus are bold enough to say, we do not know. What to say? Because it is God's will. And in the Upanishad, in the Veda, we find, Ekaham bahushyamavi. Suddenly the thought came in the mind of that. It's not he or she, of that, the consciousness, I am all alone. I like to be many. Why the thought came, who will know? So we can't answer that.
Shashi Bhushan has a two-part question. He said, Swamiji, you said one should not be worried about ever-changing politics at all and concentrate on our sadhana. Is it not wrong as a citizen? He has a two-part next time.
So as a citizen, that is, of course, you should be careful and you should do. But some who are completely dedicated in the spiritual life, for that I told. For them I told. So those who are completely dedicated, that they should concentrate completely 100% on the realization of God. For them, Shashi Bhushan is not for all.
Second part is, Shashi Bhushan is asking again, ego eradication and living materialistic life, both are tough. Then how to balance it?
That's good. So, ego eradication, that is the toughest thing. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna in his Bengali, in his own mother tongue, he said, Ami mole ghuchibe janjal. Ami means I, the ego. Mole, when it is eradicated, ghuchibe janjal, the all problem will be solved. So that will be the last stage. So to realize God, that is the only way. So we have to go on, as you must have heard that one question I was answering, we have to go on analyzing what is this ego. Why I am feeling egoistic. But the self-confidence is good. The self-confidence that I can do it. Many others can also do, I too can do. The egoistic person say, I only can do, nobody else. But the self-confident person will say, I also can do, I too can do, many others can. So this is, so we have to practice slowly. And then the living in the wealth means, suppose you are capable to earn money and then naturally you are having something, unnecessarily if you are wasting the wealth just because you have the capacity to earn, that is completely wrong from the spiritual point of view. Friend, you must remember that I am talking from the spiritual point of view. So that is those who are sincere to realize God and to understand God, for them whatever is essential, comfortable for them, they must have. But the excess thing, you must give it back to the society. By that way, you can lessen your ego and you can have your comfort also in the wealth. So thank you very much. So let us say 3 times Shanti, 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 and then we will conclude. Om Shanti, 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.